Hey, Teddy K here for Best Buy Plugin, and in this video review we take a look at the PowerVision PowerEgg, an unusual looking drone that not only flies fairly well, but also shoots in 4K.
Flying a drone is supposed to be a fun activity to do, but when it comes to the PowerVision PowerEgg, one could say that it's half joy, half frustration. And it's not so much in the way that it flies. It actually flies pretty well once you get in the air. The problem is more so the setup and what you need to know before you even get it up in the air. So I'll start from the beginning. So the quick start guide that comes with the drone is woefully inadequate. It's just not very deep. And so you'll have to download the full manual online. Okay, no problem. There's a lot of products that are like that. It is pretty extensive. The problem is that you have to really read through it in order to get to just the takeoff point. So for example, when I first tried the drone, I didn't realize, I was pressing the takeoff button, I didn't realize that I had to start the motors first and then take it off from there. See, I just assumed that the takeoff button was to go up and then go down. But that's not the way it worked out at all. Instead, you have to start the motors first, then raise the drone using the joystick and go from there. And then you can use the takeoff or landing button after to bring it back down. It's a bit of an unusual design. Most drones obviously don't do that, even if the landing gear retracts, as this one does. So for that reason, you know, I got off to a bad start with this thing. I actually was trying to test it one day and couldn't even get in the air because I didn't realize that I needed to start the motors first. Now, I didn't even find that out really until I dug into the manual, but I first discovered it actually watching a YouTube video. And that's just not right. I mean, I think if you have to go to YouTube videos extensively to try and figure out how something works, you're probably not doing a good enough job with the manual. Moreover, the Vision Plus app that works for Android and iOS, again, it's pretty good. I like the system check that it does that gives you an indication that you're ready to go. The problem also, however, is that there's just a lack of navigation as to figuring out, okay, what is everything, where does it go? Again, the manual does offer some of that, but not enough. And so again, you're kind of playing catch up just to get the thing in the air. And so I think that's the half for me that represents the part that is really, really annoying when it comes to flying this thing. Now, once you do get it in the air, it actually is quite stable, and there's 3 different modes you can fly in. So there's easy mode, normal mode, and then professional. You start with easy. I had an issue where it just couldn't lock on to satellites, even though the app indicated that there were more than enough satellites to lock onto. But for easy mode, it needs quite a bit of that. And so because the drone is using GPS and it's using China's own GPS system, which really only works in China at this point, you have a bit of a weird situation where you want to fly in easy, even though you're in an open field, and then it doesn't work. That's exactly what happened to me, and that very well could happen to you. So I often flew in normal. Now, normal is just a step above. It's probably on the same level as professional for some of the other drones, like DJI's drones, but even so, it's all right. And I found control was pretty good. I had a bit of an issue initially with the gimbal. For some reason, the yaw and the pitch weren't working. And then, strangely, and this is a true story, I crashed the drone I was doing an orbit mode thing and I didn't realize the radius was so high. The drone crashes and it fixes the gimbal issue. So all of a sudden the gimbal is working perfectly fine. I don't know. Again, like I said, nothing came easy with this drone, and that's just one example. But it does take time to learn the different flying modes. I mean, there's follow me, there's orbit, you know, you can set waypoints, you can even set a geofence if you want to. You can set limits, obviously, for altitude. There's a lot of different things you can do, and the app is not bad, actually, at lining those things up. But there is going to be some trial and error, so I would definitely advise that you be in a very open field when you're testing this out, just in case, because you don't know how wide it may go on certain things, just like with me with the orbit mode. As far as video quality goes, coming from the onboard camera, it is 4K. It's all right. I wouldn't say it's exceptionally good, but it's okay. The gimbal is pretty stable, as is the rest of the drone as well. It can be a little bit susceptible to wind, which is why I would advise that you be careful. If you're going to fly in professional mode, you kind of really need to know what you're doing and have a real feel for the drone as well. Beyond that, I mean, if you're looking for a drone that can fly pretty well, has a unique form factor, well, it doesn't get more unique than this thing, then you could go with the PowerEgg. But to be honest, you know, faced up against DJI's drones, it's a tough sell, and I think that's where price point comes into play. If you can get this for lower than a comparable DJI drone, then you're probably winning. But just bear in mind that when it comes to using everything from the remote control to the base station to the anything, you're going to need some time to figure it all out, because it can be a hassle to use. One thing about battery life I just want to get onto quickly, it's rated at 20 minutes of flight time. I barely ever reach that. It probably is not going to be 20 minutes, and it's mostly going to hit that number if it's hovering for most of the time. So if it's flying around and it's doing some of the special flight modes, you're probably looking at closer to 15, maybe 18, 17 minutes, something like that. That's probably more in the ballpark of what you're going to get. The battery does take some time to charge, as all the batteries do, and even the battery charger itself, actually each cable is for a different part of the drone. So just also you got to keep that in mind too. That at least is in the quick start guide, so you know what it is you're plugging into. But yeah, if you're expecting a quick recharge, that's not going to happen with any of the components in here. And that's my review of the PowerVision PowerEgg Drone for Best Buy plugin. I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.